Hello there, Beelzebuds, and welcome back to another episode of the Devil's Cut Podcast, the show where we really dig deep to find out if love can truly die, or if it will forever come crawling back out of the grave. I'm your resident man boy, possessed by a devil, Matt Young, and here with me, as always, is my co-host, the skeleton everyone should want in their closet,
Eric Rossi.
And special guest appearance today, Spooky Wife.
Hello.
Have you been on the show since we've been married?
Yes.
Yes, we did right after.
Yeah, remember?
We talked about the honeymoon.
Right. What episode was that?
Frankenstein.
Oh, it was the Frankenstein one.
Yeah, so she's back for the Frankenstein.
I forget our own thought process about why we do certain things in the show. It's like, I just go, oh yeah, we're just doing it. There was no reason to let us there.
There's reasons.
Yes.
Nobody else made a plan.
Nobody
else came up with a concept.
It just came together naturally.
It's not like we had a plan in brains.
Almost no work goes into this. It's very little.
Oh, yeah.
Very little preparation. Very little thought.
My soul.
Well, how are you guys doing today?
We're good.
We're doing
Pretty
a
good
morning
on a
record.
Sunday.
Yeah, a little Sunday morning record. We don't
Normally
usually.
Normally I don't feel as alive on a Sunday morning, but I do.
Well, to be
today,
fair,
so.
it is 1 o'clock now, so it's not really even Sunday morning. It happens, you know.
But, contrary to your other statement, we did do a lot of prep.
Yeah.
We went and saw this movie a week ago.
It's true. It's true. And we've been just sitting on it.
We've been
ever since.
steeping in it.
And I have to tell y'all, Eric really went above and beyond in that movie. He got a drink.
Oh, yeah.
He wined and dined himself at Lisa Frankenstein.
The both of them did. We went. It was a morning. It was a morning show. It was like 10:30 in the morning. We're talking about Lisa Frankenstein.
Oh right.
Yeah. So we get to the movie theater. It's 10:30. We wanted to get get out
Before the crowd.
10:45.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
so almost 11.
So 15 minutes
It's like
past
brunch time.
10:30, and the two of them. This guy over here gets this honkin' ass quesadilla,
It looks
French
so good.
fries, gets a cocktail. This one over here gets pretzel bites and an ice cream sundae. And I'm in between them, like it's the morning.
Listen, it was $5 sundaes on Sunday. How could I pass up a $5 brownie sundae? And it was huge.
And talk your
It
shit,
was.
but I remember specifically 2/3 of the way through this movie listening to your stomach growling next to me.
Hey,
Yeah, he was so hungry.
I did no complaining though.
No.
I was gonna suffer in silence.
But
I don't know about
nobody told
silence.
you had to suffer. Nobody was saying, "Hey, you can't eat."
I was being a martyr for the betterment of the group. But yeah, so we're back with the final of our love-inspired Valentine's Day February episodes.
Yes.
But yeah, so this week we're talking about Lisa Frankenstein. This is a brand new movie, still in theaters. Came out February 9th?
Yeah.
February 9th. So this is written and produced by Diablo Cody. First of all, let's just appreciate what an awesome name that is.
It's a pen name, but it is a
Sure.
fantastic
But that's
pen name.
that's the cool thing about pen names is you get to give yourself like the awesome name that your parents fucked up.
Yeah.
to begin with.
You get to give yourself the main character name.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
Don't blame his parents. Maybe his parents thought he was going to be an accountant.
Well, Diablo's
she-
actually a woman.
Oh, sorry.
Lady.
Excuse me. Maybe her parents thought she was going to be an accountant. Or just
I would
like
still
a
want-
stay-at-home mother.
I
Like-
would still want my child to be, if my child is destined to be an accountant, I want them to be the coolest fucking accountant you've ever heard of.
Okay.
No, I feel you.
Like, if I knew my kid was going to be an accountant, or I thought so, I'd be like, all right, my son's name is Maximum Numbers Young. You know, like, wouldn't you want to go to that guy to
But what if
to
you
account for
named
you?
maximum numbers.
What if you named your child Maximum Numbers?
First name Maximum, middle name Numbers Young.
And then he wasn't an accountant. What if he's like really bad
then
at
he
that?
gets, then the beauty of it, he gets to use a pen name.
True, he can switch it up.
He can
switch it up.
And then he can just become like, like Carl or whatever.
The pen name is the respecking of pivots. You get to just swap it out, throw a whole new name in there.
I want to try a new stat build, so I'll get
Yes.
a new name. Yeah. So yeah, you may or may not be familiar. You're probably not
You
familiar
are
with Diablo
familiar.
Cody's name, but you are familiar with her movies. She wrote Juno. She wrote
hell
Jennifer's
yeah.
Body. What was the young adult was another really big one.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see young adult, but I have seen obviously all of the rest because they're kind of like cultural icons for
among
like our
other
generation.
Things, she's a very prolific writer. So written and produced by Diablo Cody, Lisa Frankenstein was directed by Zelda Williams. This was her directorial debut. She is the daughter of Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Hell yeah!
Yeah. She's been acting for a while, but this is just her first time stepping behind the director chair.
Mm-hmm.
What did she act in? Sorry.
Like so many things. I can pull it up later. Yeah.
Okay.
Little bit parts, and she does some voice acting. She's in lots of stuff.
What a fun name.
Zelda Williams.
It's inspired straight from the video game.
Good.
Yeah.
Robin Williams, big Zelda fan.
Hell
Huge
yeah.
Zelda
Huge
fan.
nerd.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm learning so much.
This is starring Catherine Newton as the titular Lisa.
Love
although
her.
her last name is not Frankenstein. It's even more awkward because it's Lisa Swallows. Also starring Cole Sprouse as the creature, Carla Gugino as Janet, and a handful of other actors and actresses that all do a very good job. But
I want to highlight one other real quick because I saw him on screen and I was like, motherfucker, he's just every dad in every fucking movie. So they have...
He plays the same dad in Stranger Things.
Yeah,
He's Mike's dad.
Actor Joe Crest. He, obviously he plays Ted Wheeler in Stranger Things, which is Nancy's dad. He was David Schmidt in 21 Jump Street. Pretty much the exact same character, dad. I saw him and I was like, man, he's just every dad.
He is. He's got such a dad... But he's not like, that dad that you love. He's the schlubby dad who he's got no personality. He just sits on the couch with a newspaper and goes, yes, dear.
Yeah, he's like the silhouette of a dad, right? But I had to dig into this guy. Father. I had to dig into this guy because I'm like, how does he like keep getting this same role? Apparently he's been in like a billion fucking things. The dude's got like a crazy IMDb page of TV shows, huge movies, small movies. He's all over the place. But the really weird thing I found out is that he's a decorated expert marksman from his time in the Cold War serving for the Air Force. I was like, he's a stone cold killer too?
Damn.
He would be.
He's your schlub 80s dad, also elite marksman.
Can we get a
That's the coolest part.
Can we get like a John Wick guy comes out of retirement for one more job like with this guy?
Yes.
Dude,
like that movie with what's his face?
With Bob Odenkirk?
Yeah.
Except not funny because like he would be really like Bob Odenkirk was like very funny in that role. This would be like John Wick or
Super
Mr.
serious.
Nobody, but just so dull.
I mean, listen to this. He was a doctor in the original American The Ring. He was a character in Deadwood. He's been in Star Trek Enterprise. He was in Law and Order. He's just like been on Touched by an Angel. He's been on everything. He's in Ocean 13.
He's just a face that you can slap on the screen, and he doesn't intrude on what the real meat of the thing you're trying to display. You know.
Drive Angry, Battle for Los Angeles, Secretariat.
Drive Angry is that Nicolas Cage movie that I told you about, where it felt like they made a fourth Ghost Rider movie, and then they were like, oh well, we're not doing that anymore, so they just took the script and removed all the flaming skulls from it. It's kind of amazing how much that movie has come up in the last month. I feel like we've talked about it 4 different times on stream and at least twice in the pod. You know, it's of the season. Anyway, back to the movie of the week, though. So, for anyone who hasn't seen, like, maybe any trailers or is just kind of, like, vaguely aware of this movie, so anyone who's not familiar with Lisa Frank, this is the 80s Lisa Frank inspired Frankenstein movie. Paranormal romance. Yeah, paranormal romance, because I wouldn't even, honestly, we're going to get into it, this isn't a Frankenstein movie. No, it's not. It's not. No. It's honestly the only reason Frankenstein is in the name is for the gag of Lisa Frank and Frankenstein smushed together. Yeah. Otherwise, really not a Frankenstein movie. So sorry to disappoint you right off the top because we were like, in our Frank episode, we were like hot on this one. We were like, oh, Lisa Frankenstein, good Frankenstein movie coming out.
I think it borrows a lot of the iconography and like the style of the resurrecting the monster stuff, but outside of that, yeah, it's not very much Frankenstein.
Yeah, so the movie follows Lisa, who is grieving from the recent death of her mother, who was killed by a slasher in a different movie entirely.
Yeah, pretty much a completely different slasher movie occurs in the first 5 seconds of the movie, where her mom gets axed, and then we're moving.
Lisa grieving from the death of her mother as she searches for love and tries to survive high school. An overeager stepsister named Taffy and a overbearing stepmother named Janet, all of which become even harder to do when Lisa accidentally wishes an increasingly attractive reanimated corpse into her life. That's pretty much the gist of it. We'll when we get into our like breakdown and spoilers, we'll talk about it more. But I mean, essentially that's it, and it doesn't get that much more complicated because it's a pretty simple premise. Do we want to get into how we felt about it?
I think before we get into how we felt about it, I think we should look at some shmoney's.
Oh yeah, you told me not to look at the numbers for this.
So,
although I did look at the budget. The budget was
13 mil.
Yes.
So if you had to guess how it was doing
Poorly.
up to now on the 25th, what kind of total gross?
We're like a little bit less than a month out of its release.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's doing bad.
Okay.
I don't think it's met its budget yet.
Heather?
I don't know, have a number, but
I feel like it's right there on it.
on the money.
Yeah.
Domestic box office, 8.9 mil. Gross worldwide, 9.
Oh, worldwide only brought in an extra mil?
Yeah, as of yesterday, the 24th. So it is getting creamed.
Tanking,
it's tanking.
And especially because, we always... This is something that is kind of like newer information for me in the grand scheme of things. I always sort of go like, oh, well, this movie cost however many million, like say, like for Lisa Frankenstein, for instance.
Uh-huh.
You go, oh, it cost 13 million, and they've made, what'd you say, 9 million?
Yeah.
So you think like, oh, well, they almost,
covered their nut there. No.
Yeah, but that's
Not
the
at
case.
all.
In order for a movie to be profitable, they have to make like 4 times as much as the budget.
Well, yeah, you have to think about the budget. You have to think about marketing. You have to think about distribution.
And I thought it might, like, just be breaking even is because I was just going with the, like, oh, it's a Valentine's Day movie. Because that's the kind of, like, I mean, not to say it's a bad movie, but that's the kind of traction and popularity that Warm Bodies got, because it also came out
in February.
Warm Bodies is an infinitely more competent movie than this one.
No, I know that. But I mean, like, part of its success was because of that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Because people want to go on a date, and what do? They go to the movies, and they want to see a love story, and, like, some people who like horror are going to do, like, well, let's do a horror love movie. And, like,
is that what we sound like?
That's exactly what you and me sound like.
Somewhat. It's what we all sound like.
Damn, so not doing so hot.
Not doing so hot. I think this is one of those movies that will, in time, accrue like a much more.
You think it'll cult up?
Yeah, it'll cult up for sure. For sure. I think it might not speak to your particular tastes, but there's a huge market for this movie that is just completely being missed.
The whole idea of this movie is exactly to my tastes. So this movie was catering to me. Maybe
in concept, but execution, you seem to have an issue.
I think it seems like I have more of an issue than I actually do, but
let's get into it. We've passed the shmoney's.
Let's front load the praise, the overall praise on you guys. You guys go.
I thought it was really fun. I think it is definitely light on the horror. The gore was fun. It was, it serviced the plot. But I think there's a place for this movie amongst the genre that it is drawing inspiration from. I don't think it's the strongest entry in that kind of like paranormal 80s nostalgia romance movie. Like Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands. I thought the main cast is carrying the absolute shit out of this movie. And I really like all of, like, the on-scene and, like, kind of, like, background gags and, like, throwaway lines that, like, everyone is dumping into this movie. There is definitely some holes. Yeah, yes. There's definitely a second or third pass over this script that was like, all right, now we really got it dialed in. Because I watched a couple interviews, and that's what all of the cast said. They're like, everything of this movie is on the page. You should read this screenplay. This screenplay is perfect. You don't need to watch this movie to enjoy this story.
That's cool.
Which is, yeah, really big props to Ms. Diablo.
Miss Diablo. What about you, Heather?
Yeah, I agree. I really, really enjoyed it too. No, I don't think it's like a groundbreaking movie. It's not meant for that. It's fun. I agree. I think it's going to be some sort of cult classic. It reminds me of this movie that's not a horror movie, but something my boss like got me into around Halloween time called Teen Witch, which is like this really like dorky 80s movie about like this just teenage girl who turns 16 and finds out she's a witch, and it's one of those like she's nerdy and now she becomes hot and she's a witch.
Classic cinema.
Yeah, it's so much, but it's just like, so fun, and it has like a bunch of weird quirky things in it, and it just reminds me a lot of that mixed with Edward Scissorhands because it has the horror sort of gothic sort of feel to it. I agree with Eric on that the actors really carry the whole movie. I mean, Catherine Newton was like phenomenal in that role. I want to be her.
Yeah.
I want her entire wardrobe also, because her wardrobe was fucking phenomenal. As she became,
it's true, yeah.
as she blossomed into her own. But the other actors were great too. I think Cole Sprouse?
Yeah.
Cole Sprouse did a really good job.
Well, I think it was easy for Cole because he's already played Frankenstein before.
What do you mean?
In Big Daddy.
In Big Daddy.
Oh my fucking god. Wow, okay. Wasn't expecting that one. But yes, I think he did a great job of acting, physical acting.
Yeah, because he has relatively
little lines.
0 lines.
Till the end.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
I think he has 1 line.
I know they were talking about in interviews with him that he took a lot of time to work with a mime.
He worked with a mime for like 2 months straight every day.
And
Good for him.
They sat down and they looked a lot at like the silent film stuff, like Buster Keaton's work, and obviously, you know, Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny Depp's work on that.
We obviously watched the same interviews because there's really only like 4
that
are like out on YouTube. But he was talking about one aspect of the training that they did, which was where they would, it's this exercise for mimes, I guess, to like help develop like physically acting out emotions. So basically they just go like, all right, you have to be a statue that represents anger, right? So how do you, like, what would that statue look like?
Yeah.
And so you have to do that, and then they would like take a picture and then compare it to like Buster Keaton's and all of like they who did the same exercises, just to see like what, you know. So he was
cool.
like really into it. He like went on and on about that process for like
it's cool.
5 minutes. It was really cool sounding.
Good for him.
It's a cool kind of thing to dive into, like if you're like one of those like really technical actors and you're like, all right, let me do something limiting, which then forces me to like really push myself in other parts of the performance.
Yeah.
I appreciate actors like that will take roles in all sorts of different sort of genres and spaces and things like that, because then you come out of it where you've like, now you have this wide breadth of different things you can do that are going to just help you.
Well, Cole Sprouse has been on a real tear in the last like 5 years. He's been in all sorts of stuff that people love.
Well, yeah,
He's like
but I mean, like, you know, learning skills like
treasure.
that, like learning like mining.
Back to the My Bloody Valentine episode.
No. Miming and things like that, and physical acting, like, it's all good for your career down the line, because, like, you know, then you can incorporate those sorts of things into, like, characters that need, like, more physical acting, and, I don't know. This is all coming from somebody who works in this, so I'm getting
casting.
nerdy.
Yeah.
I'm getting
you get to see a lot of, like,
I'm getting very
audition
granular
tapes
about it,
and reels and stuff.
But yeah, so overall, I really enjoyed it. You know, I don't think it's like a groundbreaking movie. Like it has a like very enriching story or anything, but I think it's a lot of fun, and it's something like I'll probably put on around Valentine's Day every year just because it's like a good time.
Yeah, that's where I think it lies for me is I'll put it on Halloween when we're doing our just like put things on in the background marathon. Maybe Valentine's Day's around, we'll do that. But like for me, I don't think this is going to become a big cult hit. Mm-hmm. I think I'll put it right up front. I think this movie succeeds where it counts. Yeah. I think, like you said, I pointed at both of them just for the audio people. The performances are like absolutely stellar. Everybody, anytime any character's on screen, except I guess the dad, but even then he's supposed to be like uninteresting. You know, every character is like so funny, and they're such like caricatures.
They're cartoons, really.
Yeah.
It's the like Catherine Newton absolutely knocks it out of the park. Her mannerisms, the way she like speaks, her little like facial expressions that she does, like she's so funny. Cole Sprouse, yeah, the physical acting is hilarious. He's great. I didn't know like what was going to happen with like 0 lines in the movie, but didn't miss it at all. It was like he got everything across just, you know, with his eyes and his movements. Carly Gugino, as an evil stepmom, so funny.
She's hilarious.
She's so good.
She's really good.
And everything else about the movie, like the color grading, the cinematography, the set design, camera work, the score, like all of it, like it all felt like it looked really good. It like felt like good to just be in the world of the movie. The sets were really cool. Apparently, the house, the main like Lisa's house, they got that at like the last possible second because they had a house that they were gonna film in, and then like at like the midnight hour, the HOA for the neighborhood that house was in was like, you can't film here.
Of course.
And so they had to like scramble to find a new set, and they found this bright pink inside like 90s like late 80s house.
It's a perfect house because it gives their home life this weird like dollhouse aesthetic and this weird like toy kind of like kitschy late 80s vibe that really sells their house.
Yeah, we were talking about that too when we left the theater. Like the whole like everything, the whole set design and lighting design and everything just makes you feel kind of like you're in a dream world almost. Like everything is very like fuzzy and bright and or
ephemeral.
dark if it's
ephemeral. Ooh.
Yes.
There you go. It is all very like feels out of space, out of time, but still also 80s.
And that's kind of like where my issues actually start to roll in,
Which is so weird to me.
Well,
but okay, continue.
I'll try to do my best to explain it over the course of the rest of this episode. So, like I said, where it really counts, I think the movie ultimately succeeds. The reason why I don't think this is really going to become like a big cult thing, or why I ultimately don't think it's like the best movie. It's certainly not the best movie that Diablo Cody has ever written.
No.
It just for me it felt the whole story felt very first pass, extremely unfinished. It felt like all of the jokes, while almost all of them are very funny, it just felt like it was all like I'll throw in all the stuff and take it out later, you know, in editing, and then just no one edited it at all. For me, the story was just sort of like meandering. All the stuff that happened was just kind of like because stuff has to happen because it's a movie. Like nothing felt like it was driving the movie forward at any point. There was no stakes really to anything at all. It just, to me, I felt like no reason to be like compelled to see what happens to the characters.
I can definitely agree with you on low stakes. I mean, even to
I'm
the
not saying
point where
like, every movie has to be like this big, but like stakes is a broad like term. Like there has to be like, even I know it's a comedy and I know it's goofy, but even in the most like goofy dumbass movies, like there has to be something that like some goal that the characters want to meet, that you want to meet with them. There has to be stuff that's blocking them from getting there. And nothing really, like, to me in this movie, nothing really was like stopping Lisa. Also, all the stuff that happened to her just happens for no reason. Like even the creation of the Frankenstein movie, of the creature, like you could have made it a Frankenstein movie if she brought the creature back to life, but she doesn't. He just kind of appears to her, and she goes, "Oh, guess I have to deal with this now."
Well, she wishes. She makes a wish. There's a wish.
She wished it.
Yeah, she willed it into existence.
I think it would have been better if she. I thought when we were going into it was going to be like a Frankenstein movie, and she was going to be some like, because she's like a nerdy outcast girl.
Yeah.
If you just add, she does science as a hobby, like you could easily throw that line in the very like first seconds of the movie when Taffy and her are talking. Taffy could be like talking about how she's got to stop doing all the science in the garage.
I'd say sideways agree with you. There is definitely a lack of like a singular goal, but I think that's more so in service of like telling the story of her deconstructing like her old life in favor of reconstructing this new one, which kind of parallels with
I think you're giving
constructing the man.
I think you're giving it more thought and credit. Than
I think it's there because you have her from the beginning where she's this like very like kind of meek, small, like.
But she doesn't really. There's no. She does start as like she's like quiet, mousy. She's like awkward and nervous. But then before anything like fundamental happens to her, she already kind of occasionally like gets like the persona that she ends the movie with is kind of sprinkled in the whole time anyway. And like when the creature shows up, it's not like it's almost like they went, okay, now she's fully formed now. Like there's no, for me it didn't feel like there was any transformation. It was like she was just like quiet and goofy, and then she meets the creature and all of a sudden she's like kicking down doors and dressing all goth, and it's like there was no transition. She didn't like gain confidence. Like,
coming from somebody who came from being kind of a quiet, nerdy dork to now being much more out and about it. Like sometimes, it does just take like a person who's like, you could do it.
It still took what, like 10, 15 years like of that growth. Like hers happened just overnight because she meets a zombie. You know,
it's high school, but it's high school. Like, I think it makes sense. I think it's like it also just speaks to like young love. Like you meet somebody and they're like,
but she doesn't even decide
like,
she
this.
loves him until like the last 2 seconds.
Like,
she didn't have to.
She didn't. She didn't fully realize
she didn't figure
but it was
out.
in her. Yeah, it was like in her psyche.
I think the writing could use another couple passes, Cody. I'm sorry.
I think you're just a little too.
You think I'm jaded?
Jaded at this point.
I don't think so, because you know what? I'll go and watch like a version of this type of movie. I'll go watch Warm Bodies and be perfectly happy because it's a well-constructed story where there's stakes, the characters grow and learn because of the events of the movie. It's all well put together.
Hey,
this
Eric,
one just needs
$10 says we put on Warm Bodies, and he's like,
no, Warm Bodies is awesome.
I don't know about this movie anymore.
Warm Bodies is good.
I don't know about young love anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's enough story here for anybody to really latch on to long term. I don't think people are gonna go like Jennifer's Body. People were like lukewarm on because they just weren't ready for like what that movie was talking about.
No,
but now people have come to see that we're ready to have, as a society, we're more ready to have these types of conversations. Also, the movie has like a strong plot where there's like momentum and driving force. This movie just kind of like starts and then just meanders and then it's over. But it was cute, you know. Like for me, that's not the cuteness of it wasn't enough. I if it was just, again, if she took another couple passes at it, gave like some tweaks to the events that gave some more driving force to the movie, like I think it would have been like a smash hit, like knocked it out of the park. Just for me, you're just kind of like walking in circles for a while, and then the movie's over.
Oh, speaking of, I keep forgetting to tell you guys this, which is kind of in line with Jennifer's Body, but also is exciting to the podcasting community here. There is a musical in development that is currently like off Broadway in New York that I have a client in, which is Teeth, the musical.
Oh, yes.
Oh, sweet.
The production of Teeth.
That's awesome. Teeth came out around the same time as Jennifer's Body, right? So like,
I think a little earlier. Yeah.
It has the
same idea premise.
And that's another thing and this is not really like a complaint. You can remove this from my grievances from the movie because it's not really that important. But Diablo Cody did come out and say that this movie takes place in the same universe as Jennifer's Body, but I'm pretty sure that tweet or wherever she put that out into the world was just to get more people to come see this movie, because that information is completely irrelevant to this movie because it's set 20, 30 years before Jennifer's Body happens. And also, this movie feels, like you said, it feels like you're in a dream the whole time, which is fine. Like, Edward Scissorhands does it. It's a style thing. I don't think it worked well for this movie because we're supposed to be apparently in this grounded universe that Jennifer's Body takes place in. But instead it just feels like we're wandering through like a watercolor painting that has neon lights and Tim Burton sprinkled in all over the place. So, like, I don't know why she even put it out there, because this movie has nothing in common with her other work in tone, in practice, in anything. So it really was just to get the Jennifer's Body people into the theater.
Maybe it was a publicity stunt that her PR people told her to do, but maybe it'll make sense later on.
I think if you... we have a funneled view of most things when it comes to stuff like this because we are looking specifically through like a horror lens. But I think if you shift your like perception of this into more of a science fiction romance that has like a horror gradient over it, that's closer to probably what her intent was.
Well, I'm not even arguing that because I haven't even mentioned the like almost fundamental lack of anything horror. Like this is not really that much of a horror movie. No. It has horror stuff in it, so we'll obviously talk about it. It's got a zombie, so
and
she kills.
There's some dismemberment.
There's some good deaths and dismemberment. But it has very little horror. I'm fine with that. That doesn't really bother me. It has nothing to do with my grievances with the movie. It's all, for me, the problems all come from that it's just not an interesting story. Like, there's plenty of other cute, like, weird, young romance love stories that I'd rather watch.
Yeah.
You know, I think most people are going to watch those instead of that.
Jennifer's Body supposed to take place? Like,
during the time? Yeah, it came out in 2009, I think.
Yeah, early aughts.
So it takes place in the same,
mid
to late aughts, sometime like that. So yeah, way before, and this movie's set like way before then anyways.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I mean, again, ultimately, I think if you watch this movie, I'd give it a recommend. See it one time. If you really like it, I mean, I'm not going to stop you from watching it again if you really like it, and I'm not going to...
He's going to come to your house and he's going to find you.
But, you know, I'm not going to follow you if you like it. You know, you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for the most part. I mean, I think it's worth... There's basically no story to be had, but it's still worth watching because Catherine Newton and Cole Sprouse are, like, so fun on screen that for the most part, you can forget about it. You just watch them from scene to scene.
I think your particular dislikes and, like, gripes with it are going to completely, like... I don't want to say go over the heads, but like blow right past the people who are going to love this movie because of like just your individual experience versus theirs. I think this is focused towards a person who is not exactly you fundamentally.
It's focused,
if that makes sense.
I think it's for people who don't want to watch the movie they're watching.
No. I think there's just a style and a life experience that might glom onto this property more than
he's
you.
He's jaded.
I'm not jaded.
He's not jaded.
It's just not.
I mean, he is jaded, but he's. I don't think that his dislike comes from a jaded space.
No,
it's just not a very extremely well written story. It could have used a couple more passes. Diablo Cody has no excuse. She's already written a million really good things that are so. She wrote a horror romance movie that is infinitely more competent than this.
Listen. There was a lot of things happening in the TV film world this year that may have attributed to the
that's fine
writing and production of movies.
And if that's what happened, then I can forgive it. But it's still not gonna. In 20 years from now, people are going to be like, well, we have to watch Lisa Frank and forgive it because it might not be great, but there was stuff going on.
I'm just telling you that that could be part of the reason why you feel the way you feel.
Fast forward to 1 decade down the line where Bloody Disgusting is like, we're just going to take another look at this masterpiece from 2024.
I get tagged in an article. It says disgraced podcaster.
Yeah. This is how we blow up. Everyone finds our podcast. They see you hate this movie, and then we get like negged into unexistence.
I don't even hate it.
I don't even hate it.
I just have to be able to look at it through a critical lens and explain what the faults are.
Okay.
With
all that being said, still go see it once, especially in theaters, because I think it's going to be less enjoyable at a home viewing.
Jeez.
Really? I don't think it would really... I don't think there was anything going on in the theaters that made me go like, this was definitely a good one to see on screen because I'll be missing something at home.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fun to see things on the big screen, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It always is.
It hypes up for me.
It does.
Imagine what I'd be saying about the movie if we watched it on our little ass TV.
That poor TV. What did they ever do to you?
But yeah, so I guess now we can get into like the breakdown of the plot, and whatever there is of it, and
I think it would service us better to just, like you said, it's not exactly the most like concrete plot, so we might as well just kind of like breeze over some stuff.
I guess I meant more. We'll get into our spoilery.
Yeah.
Not that we haven't already spoiled a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
You know.
I mean, I don't think we really did.
We didn't spoil the twist ending. Quotes. The twist that there is. But we'll get into it now. So if you want to see the movie without knowing anything about it, as always, pause it now. But you have to come back and finish it when you've seen the movie.
Yes. And before you finish the movie, you should go to the link in the description of this episode, join the Discord, check out our other things.
In the middle, we're doing
Yes, we're going to plug them early because I don't believe everybody makes it to the end.
It's true.
Yeah, they skip it. They feel the wind down, and they're like, all right, I can end it now.
Yeah, no.
Yes, please join the Discord. We're trying to set up a whole bunch of fun things in there. There's already a bunch of fun
and also
things
it's a good
there.
place. It's a good place to go if you want to hear us talk about something. We're open. Our schedule is wide open for suggestions. We've got some plans, but if there's stuff you guys want to listen to,
that's where you tell us.
If it's new stuff that's coming out that you're like, hey, can you guys definitely cover this? Odds are we will anyway. But you know, if there's older stuff, you know, more obscure movies, just things that you want to hear deep dives on, let us know because we'll do it. We'll do it. Please. We'll do whatever you want. But yeah, so go watch the movie or don't. But either way, we're going to spoil it now. Essentially, the whole plot of the movie is you have Lisa Swallows. I just want to say the name again because it's
a great name. They say it all over the place, and everybody goes hee hee hee.
We follow Lisa. Her mother was recently killed by a masked axe murderer.
Yeah,
which I thought was this is another reason why there's so many elements of this that are just thrown in, and I'm like, I thought the axe murderer thing would come back later.
True.
I thought for sure when we saw the dad, I was like, he's either the most boring guy ever or he definitely killed the mono.
He's the family annihilator.
No, you never.
No, you know what I thought?
It's a one-off scene, and they never talk about it again.
I actually thought it was gonna be Lisa.
Me too. Later in the movie, I went, wait, did Lisa kill her mom?
I was like, this is a Lizzie Borden.
Yeah, well, because Lisa just gets super on board with murder,
too easy.
So easily.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's no consequences.
Because there's no stakes. Anything can happen. I mean, there is.
So I felt like it was a repressed memory sort of situation.
Me too.
Where she forgot she.
I have it in my notes. I said, did Lisa kill her mom?
Yeah. And I thought it was a repressed memory thing where she did her first killing later on in the story, and then she was like, "Oh God, I killed my mom."
That would have been better for me.
I'm gonna push back a little bit in saying that they actually bring it up to her face all the time that her mom was axe murdered. I would say 2/3 of the characters in the movie take at least one moment to go oh wait, didn't your mom get brutally murdered by an axe intruder?
That's true. But what I meant by they never talk about it again is that the movie never addresses it. It's not an important part. Her mom could just have passed away peacefully. It makes zero difference to the character because, like you said, they say it to her face all the time, and it barely registers for her. She's like, I got more stuff going on.
Well, I think it's supposed to be like, that's why she's so disturbed.
Yeah, I guess so. She's like Dexter. She was born in blood.
Yes.
Exposed to murder
just, like,
early
disturbed
on.
because, like, her mom was brutally murdered in front of her.
She's gonna move to Miami at the end of the movie.
There's a
metro.
There's a moment in early on in the movie where you kind of like get to meet her stepmom, and her stepmom is like having a breakdown.
Oh my god!
And she's like, "Yeah, I know that your mom was murdered in front of you by an axe wielding masked man, but no one coddled me when my dad blew up in Da Nang."
Oh my god! Yes.
And seeing it come out of her mouth was just she fucking nailed it. She was like so good as this completely uninterested stepmom. She's like, I don't give a fuck about your problems. Here's my issues.
Totally disconnected.
Yeah, it's really funny. There's a scene later on after the creature has sort of appeared to us where she's like cleaning her house. She's got the yellow rubber gloves on, but she's got like a full
tracksuit?
No, is it a tracksuit? I have it written down.
She's wearing like workout stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the leotard with the leggings and the leg
warmers.
The leg warmers, yeah.
Yeah, it was very funny to me. She was like all done up, but she's got the gloves and she's scrubbing all this stuff. She's just really hamming it up in this movie, and like every second she's on screen is so funny. In fact, I think it's a detriment to the movie that they kill her off as early as they do because she's the only antagonizing force that like was making things interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that when they get her, her death scene is very funny though because the creature like sneaks up on her, and before that when she's doing that cleaning montage, there's like a funny scene where he's trolling on her a little bit. He's sneaking around the house and he like vomits up exactly one earthworm into like her cottage cheese and peaches.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because you see Cole Sprouse being like, and then there's one little worm goes.
Oh, it's so funny.
And I was like, that is the internal like biological dexterity you have to have for yourself to just vomit.
Isolate one worm.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it was so funny. And then later on, she gets killed by him because she is screaming at Lisa about something because she's doing that all movie. And the creature sneaks up behind her and smashes her with like an old timey like typewriter.
No, it's a sewing machine.
Oh, is it a sewing machine?
Sewing machine.
Right. Apparently, in that, I don't know if it's the take that came with the movie or it was just a take of it, but apparently at one point, Cole Sprouse like they misjudged each other, and he actually did just completely wallop Carla with, but she just kept going, and then and they just played the whole scene out, and then the second they hit cut, like Cole was like on his knees, like I'm sorry.
Oh hell!
It was not a real sewing machine. It was
a
prop one. Mm-hmm. So it was still like plastic and foam. It was enough that he was like whomp. Yeah, and it probably did rattle some things around in there.
Yeah, because I was gonna say if it was a real one, she'd be concussed. Concussed. Those things.
But she's a pro. She did the scene without blinking. So yeah, that and the deaths overall in the movie are when they do happen are pretty funny. They're good.
Yeah,
they're gruesome. There's like a guy who gropes Lisa earlier in the movie at a party, who gets his hand cut off because when the creature first shows up, he's missing a hand.
He's missing a hand. He's missing an ear.
We should talk about the creature, right?
I mean, you just kind of jumped in. I don't know if you wanted to go in order.
No, not really. We're just gonna talk about it because we're gonna do what the movie does and just kind of walk in circles.
Oh my god!
now I'm just being facetious.
Yeah.
No, so the movie. So we start out with Lisa. She's sad. Her stepsister Taffy, which is so funny that everyone's casually like, that's Taffy. Is anybody actually named Taffy?
No.
It feels like
maybe in the 80s.
But it feels very 80s, where it's like, oh, let's give her like a cute nickname over her normal name.
It's probably like Taffeta or something.
Yeah, it probably is something like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And so her sister Taffy, who like
stepsister.
They're real sisters.
At heart.
At heart. Well, at the end, not as much. But so The one nice thing that I thought about that character, the stepsister, was that she wasn't mean or antagonistic.
Yes.
She actually did just like want to help Lisa. And I liked that. I don't know. Maybe the story would have been stronger if she was a mean stepsister. I don't know.
No, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, because it kind of it gave you the counterbalance between like the dad who is just like willfully ignorant, the stepmom who is like
terrible,
just an absolute nightmare.
Yeah,
and then you have her in between who's kind of like, hey, like I'm trying to extend a bridge here and be like, let's connect, but also like, I have my own thing going on. I'm, a cheerleader. I'm doing my own high school.
She was technically mean in the end because what she was doing behind her back wasn't good, which I won't spoil if we're not there yet. But,
you're
so
right,
like,
you're right.
she wasn't so. Oh, it's like a weird. She's not like mean. She was like she's one of those people that like, I don't know. She's like. She's not selfish either. She's like
self-involved.
Self-involved.
Yeah,
exactly.
Teenage girl.
She's a teenage shit.
In
the 80s.
She just doesn't realize sometimes the things she says are like hurtful.
But yeah, so Lisa gets dragged to a party where she gets
drugged pretty.
But drugged just by her rival goth girl.
Yeah,
right?
there's some rival goth girl who's
but
like.
That's the thing I don't understand. So you have this scene, right? Lisa is at the party. She's awkward. We talked earlier about when she was talking to Taffy about how she has a crush on like the head editor of like the school newspaper.
Yeah.
And he's there, and she's talking to him.
Who Taffy thinks is gross.
Yeah, Taffy's like, ew.
He's a weirdo.
Yeah, so she's talking to this guy that she has a crush on, and then this other like fully formed goth girl like shows up.
Fully formed. Because
Lisa's not there yet. She's not all the way. She's just quirky at the start. She goes like full goth girlfriend at the end. So this other girl shows up. I don't even know the character's name. She said it a couple times, but she shows up, and it's like this girl who clearly also likes this guy. The guy, what is the character's name?
I think they're dating. They're like full on, like that's his girlfriend.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought at first, but then later in the movie, it doesn't really seem that way. I guess this guy's just a skis, right?
Probably.
But yeah, this guy Michael, right? So like this other girl comes up, and I guess they're dating, but she has drinks in her hand, like, and she's like, "Oh hey, Lisa," like she immediately hates her, like for like just because she exists. Like I think this is probably the first word she said to Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Hey, Lisa," and then goes, "You want a drink?" Like so, and then Lisa just chugs this whole red Solo cup filled with some mystery. I assumed it was just beer. But Lisa drinks it all like in one big.
She doesn't want to look like a pussy, like she's never drank before, so she fucking hammers it.
Yeah, but then we find out it must have been
laced
with stuff. But like, was that what everybody was doing, or was she specifically targeted by Tamara?
I think she was.
It was very unclear. Even Heather doesn't really know.
Well,
for sure.
yeah, no, because wasn't she? She was originally offering it to her boyfriend.
Yeah. That's the weird thing. So was that what everybody was doing?
And then he was like, "Here, Lisa, have this."
I mean, he's pretty edgy. I'm sure he was kind of like, "Yeah, let's."
It just felt very.
Let's get weird.
It felt weird and unclear if they were trying to say, like, "Oh, she's never been drunk before," but then stuff gets really trippy, and I'm like, "Oh no, there must have been."
Yeah, I was a little unclear on how that was.
I don't know what, and it's never explained. She just takes some mystery liquid that makes her like trip balls. She gets molested by a light molest.
Groped.
That's a molest.
Just groping.
Yeah. By this nerdy kid. He has a funny line where he goes...
It's a good friend... it's her lab partner and good friend.
I wouldn't say he's a good friend, but he's a lab partner.
Partner for sure.
Oh, right. They're not actually like friends.
But he like takes her into this bedroom that's like if vacant, and he starts trying to like mack it to her. And he, like, does he grab her boob and then, like, puts her hand on his dick?
Yeah.
And then she's like, she just has no idea what's going on. She's not even, like, no, I can't do this. Or she doesn't, like, she's just, like, so blitzed like out of her gourd that like she has no idea what's going on. She's seeing stuff, but she does enough to like try and get up, and the guy goes, and I thought this was like a crazy line. He goes, "You know the rule. You have to finish what you start." And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we talked
are
about
these?
that. We talked about that. It's like a 80s line.
It's a terrible, it's just a terrible, shitty excuse from a teenager in the 80s who's like, wait, no, the blue balls, you can't, please.
Never heard that one.
Oh, another really funny
Not
line.
a rule.
A funny line from Taffy when Lisa's describing Michael. Because Taffy's like, I just like football players, and Lisa goes, he's not like that. He's cerebral. And Taffy goes, he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh, Taffy.
There is, I will say there is so many just like absolutely golden lines that are delivered fucking perfectly by these,
I kind of love
people.
Taffy, the actress who plays Taffy too. She did a really good job at being like just kind of an airhead, but also like self-involved, but trying to also be nice to she played that role really well.
Zelda Williams like really got the best out of everybody on set.
Yeah, like that
for her first movie that she's directed. Like she wrangled in all of these actors and actresses who were all very competent, but like she really pulled out. They've even said it in interviews that Zelda had the ability to just like pull the best stuff out of them.
I think she really understood the characters that Diablo wrote and
what a fucking cool name.
Formed that out of the actors. Like, she did just a really good job of being like, okay, this is exactly what you want. Okay, I can make that out of this actor, like, and pull that out of this person.
Yeah, I think it was Sprouse said it in an interview. He said, like, she had an idea of what she wanted, but she didn't tell any of them. She just kind of, like, coaxed them along the way till they got there, and she was like, good, perfect, that's what I needed.
Honestly, sounds like a great
That's probably
director to
better.
work for.
That's probably better than telling the person what you want, because then they're just going to overthink it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, okay, now adjust this, adjust that.
And it seems like she was, like, really open to a lot of, like, ideas that they were bringing to the table.
Yeah. So, like, during the drug trip sequence that Lisa has, this is where, like, so she leaves the party and she, like, walks home, but she gets, like, lost or whatever. She wanders into this cemetery that she was in at the very beginning of the movie for a little bit because she likes to decorate. It's a... which, also, I've never heard of this before. It was a bachelor's cemetery, so unwed men just buried there.
Is this a real thing?
No, it's not.
There's no way.
It is a real thing in Europe.
Okay.
Never been practiced in America.
Oh. Alright, well, at least it's a real thing somewhere.
Here's where we buried all the stiff dicks.
Yeah, right? Like, all these just lonely guys go here. And she likes to, like...
It's the 40-year-old virgin cemetery.
She would go there and decorate the grave of this one.
She tended grave, it's a very goth practice.
In her, like, tripping in the stupor that she's in, she wanders there instead of home, and she finds the grave, where she, like, has put, like, her mom's rosary beads on them, too. But she, like, wishes, she goes, like, I wish I could just talk to you.
I wish I was with
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, she says, I wish I was with you, for sure, because that's important, like, later in a funny exchange that she has. And that is the catalyst of the... So, it's not... Again, this is why it's not a Frankenstein movie. She doesn't build the creature. The creature's just a zombie that she wished to life. And there's not even like a magical, like, the moon doesn't shine on
There's
it
lightning
and brings it, I guess, like, but is it real lightning or is she just tripping? Because then we get another scene after that where she, like, wakes up in a, like, animated like, all the room
animated.
It's not animated, but it's meant to look like it's animated. Like, all the furniture has, like, the thick black outline so that it looks 2D.
That's just a dream. Yeah, it's just a tricked ass dream sequence.
Yeah. So
I loved it with the fake tears on her face.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's great. I mean, visually,
but just like
the
thick,
movie,
like glue dots on her face.
Honestly, visually, the movie is like pretty much beyond reproach. It's like there's nothing you could say about this movie visually where you're like, that was a bad part.
Yeah,
the
it's
whole
very
movie
stylish.
Looks so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she gets home. and like the whole house is like wrecked because she comes in like fucking mud and like and then the next morning she wakes up and like Carly Gugino's like freaking out again. She's like freaking out about her little Precious Moments dolls the whole movie,
God,
which I thought was really
Precious
funny.
Moments. I love they threw that in there. My mother was a Precious Moments mother, so
yeah. Eventually, we get another sequence where like the parents go. They all go to the movies and they invite Lisa, but she doesn't want to go. They're all. I just thought it was funny. They're all going to see Look Who's Talking, which is like for some reason, Look Who's Talking is such a go-to well for comedian, like people who like want to mention like, a funny reference, like something funny. It's always Look Who's Talking. I don't know why.
And it's also like a movie that like it opens so crudely, but it was like such
with the
a
sperm,
like
right?
yeah, but it was such a like this is a family.
The
movie,
talking
right?
animated sperm,
and I was like, this movie opens with talking sperm. Like,
Inception.
why is this? Why is this a family?
That movie always like put me into like an existential like spiral when I was a kid because I would always think about. I'm a little kid, and I'm thinking, like, well, this baby, like, in his head is, like, really smart, but what happens when he, like, learns to talk? He's gonna just be a dumb kid. So what's going on here? Like, and little me was always trying to figure out.
Fair, that's confusing.
I would love, like, a...
You wanna be Ghost... John Malkovich, my
No,
kid
I wanna,
head?
like, Ghost of Christmas Past, like, just sit in on an instance of you as a lonely child rocking back and forth in your own existential fear.
Yeah, basically, if you were to snapshot any moment of my childhood, it'd be like the moment Punxsutawney Phil like sees his shadows. Any second of my childhood is
I think that would make me really sad. But I also kind of want to, I want to see that moment when you're
Except I had no den to go back to. I was just scared all the time.
Oh, I want to like see that moment where like. That story you always tell about how your dad was terrible because he told you that like
the sun was gonna blow up and we were gonna die. Yeah,
and I want to see you after that.
The pre-cancellation Louis C.K. joke that he made that actually happened to me.
Yeah,
multiple times from different genres of death that I was gonna experience. Dad was just like, yeah, that's how it is.
Be scared.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Be prepared, son. So they go. The parents. So back to the movie. Back to the movie. Lisa's parents, the whole family goes out, and that's when like the creature has made its way back, to her house. And it's really funny. The scene is awesome because the costume that Cole Sprouse has to wear is crazy because he's a giant muck man essentially.
Oh, yeah,
he's crawled out of the grave.
For a while,
he looks like the fucking Swamp Thing.
Yeah,
to move around and all that, it must have been nuts.
They also kind of gave him this like kind of veneer of like almost being a statue. He like comes out and he's like almost stone like in his like decay.
Yeah.
And then throughout the movie, as they're starting to repair him, he gets a little bit more lifelike.
Yeah. So that is where I guess the Frankenstein comes in a little bit. I don't really count it, but I'll give it to them. I do like the device that they use.
I love the way they go about this.
So in the beginning of the movie, before they go to the party, Taffy is like, "Hey, you're too pale. I have a tanning bed in the garage."
That she like won from something.
Yeah.
It was a pageant trophy.
Yeah, she was. What was she?
Oh, it was something funny.
It was something really funny, but I didn't catch it quick enough to write it down. But yeah, she was a pageant winner, so she won a tanning bed.
Just so funny.
And the first thing that happens is Lisa goes in
so
there.
80s.
Lisa goes in there and there's like a short circuit and it like shocks her and like electrocutes her a little bit and then they go to the party but then after the creature has arrived and there's some very, very good physical comedy in the introduction where they first meet and he's like chasing Lisa all up and down the house. They go out into the yard and the neighbors are like sitting there on like patio chairs and they're like, what's going on? And they're like, that's just that weird girl Lisa, and she's being chased by an undead creature like all through the yard.
That's just that weird girl.
And
she's
then
just like screaming her head off.
It's really funny. It's a very funny scene. They finally clean him up, right? And he's like still a gross like undead corpse, but they put him. She's like, "You're too pale," so she puts him in the tanning bed. There's also a sticker on the tanning bed. I don't know if you guys saw it. That it says "Kiss of Life" is the brand of the tanning bed.
Missed that.
Oh,
that's
man.
a cute detail.
That is cute.
And so they put him in there, and it like electrocutes him, and he comes out, and he's like slightly less gross looking, right? He's like less pale.
He's a little bit more fleshed out, but he's still very gaunt.
He's got more to him. And over the course of the movie, people get killed, and their body parts are then, because Lisa works in a tailor. She can sew. She works at the most 80s looking tailoring shop.
Oh yeah, it's like a
everything's pink and green.
It's like a dry cleaner tailor shop.
Yeah,
it's one of those
Yeah, so she knows how to sew. So she sews all of the body parts that they steal onto him, and every time, every time they sew a new part, they have to shock him, and he gets more and more.
It reintegrates to him after they electrocute it.
Because they start with an ear, and
it's Cara Gugino's ear too.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if you wanted to reveal the evidence.
We know she dies. I said it earlier.
So they start with the ear, and the ear, he can't hear out of it when she first sews it on. They go into the tanning bed, zap him, and then he can hear out of it. So the body parts don't fuse with his body until they get shocked back.
And then again,
because they do
weird rules.
They do the hand, and the hand isn't
you and your rules.
Well, move. The movie has to make some sense.
That's the sense it makes. You put him in the box, you zap him.
Why,
Frankenstein.
Though? She had the power to just wish him to life. Why wasn't he just fully ready to go?
Why did they need to shock Frankenstein?
To bring him back to life. But once they did it, they didn't shock him again every time they added something to him.
They didn't add something to him constantly. They put all the pieces of Frankenstein together and then shocked him.
Yeah, I think that would have been better if she did that to begin with.
But she didn't make him.
Which she should have! It's called Lisa Frankenstein! She should have made him!
It doesn't fit in the story!
You can't name... You just make the movie a Frankenstein movie. It can't just be a gag. Just a title gag for no reason.
We have to reanimate his corpse off this hill. He needs to stop dying on this hill.
Frankenstein movie.
But, so... They do kill we already talked about. They kill evil stepmom. But it's so funny because for the rest of the movie, they kill her early on enough that you really do miss Cara Gugino the rest of the movie. She leaves a big hole when she's gone. But they kill her, and it's she was mean, but she wasn't evil, right?
She was trying to send her to a mental facility. She was evil.
Everybody was sending everybody to mental facilities still in the 80s, all right?
Yeah, but she was no, she was getting very threatening there at the end.
I don't know. She wasn't
Okay, but here's the thing. The killing also started by Cole Sprouse.
True.
By the Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, for sure. He did start it. Also, the fact he's just totally ready to murder,
and if you look at Lisa's face, she was not
What's
ready.
he got to lose? Who cares?
yeah, that's true.
She was not ready and or prepared for him to then just, off her stepmom.
It just makes sense why he was in the Bachelor cemetery, because he's so down to just kill.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, so
he killed himself. That's how he got there.
It's true.
Did it say what his death was?
He has specific self-inflicted wounds early on that you're
okay.
Yeah. Because you do end up getting his backstory at some point, and you find out that he was a pianist who
a colonial pianist.
Yeah, he fell in love with this girl, and then
colonial penis.
She fell in love with this other musician, so he sulks himself into death. It was part of the
animated opening.
Yeah.
I guess we were still getting settled and stuff.
And
Food
you love
was coming.
those things.
No, I do. I forgot to mention it, but I did like the anime. It does have an animated opening.
It's almost
Very
like
fun.
a digital version of the paper craft openings from
What is it? I thought of this too, but I can't.
Hook Hand Bee Chest.
Candyman.
Hook Hand Beach Chest would be a funny name for
what?
for a sequel.
I thought you said Hook Hand.
That's the Asylum version. Hook Hand Beach Chest.
I thought you said Hook Hand Beach Fest.
No.
Hook Hand Beach Fest is a I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, Asylum movie.
I was wait, what is that?
The crossover you've always wanted: Beach Chest and Beach Fest.
I was whoa.
But you're right. He was a pianist because there's I think probably one of the better scenes in the movie is after. So a lot of the movie is Lisa kind of coming home from her days and confiding in the creature who has to stay in her room in her closet lest anybody see him and be
What the fuck
what
is that?
the fuck was with the zombie.
Yeah.
So she keeps him hidden, but she comes home and she confides in him. She talks about her crush Michael, because there's a couple different scenes that really reminded me of the like It's November 3rd like scene,
yeah,
because you get that like pan into the classroom and we go over the shoulder of Michael and Lisa's looking at him.
Yeah. October 3rd.
Oh, is it October? Yes. Oh my god, I can already hear the stampede of Mean Girls fans coming.
I only know it because it falls in my birth month.
Yeah,
so it makes me happy.
that's my fault. I should know the date. It's very important to our culture. So
October 3rd.
Yeah,
the American tapestry.
It's part of it.
But yeah, so like, sorry, I don't think I finished this, but so like the killing starts with him. So like, none of like. She's not prepared for any of it. Like,
she gets prepared pretty quick, though.
Yeah, she does get there
She's
eventually.
down to clown.
But
basically, once she has to, she's initially shocked when she comes across the body with the creature standing over it of her stepmom. But then she like pretty much gets on board. She's like, "All right, guess we gotta go dump it in the woods." You know.
Yeah,
and they chop her up and throw her parts in the woods.
Because she was nothing but mean to her.
Yeah.
So.
But then immediately after she, the dead body's there. Creature removes Carla Gugino's ear and like holds it up and has her sew it on, and then they shock it back to life, and now he's like prettier.
And then she
But then he's missing a hand the whole time, and he's like, "Oh!" And he points to the hand. He's like, "Can we do something about this one now?" And then immediately she's like, "Oh, I know the perfect guy," because she like puts like a.
Well, but she only orchestrates that one. She doesn't do the killing.
Okay. I think you still go to jail on that one.
Yeah,
she's culpable. That was a 2-person murder.
But no, but yes, but I'm saying like she doesn't start doing any killing like literally on her own until like after that.
I don't think she actually does any killing on her own.
Doesn't she?
No. Creature does all the killing. She just orders him around.
No, I'm pretty sure she does her own killing eventually.
No, there's only 3 deaths in the movie.
No, who she kills? Because the creature kills the mom.
The gropey guy.
Gropey guy cuts his hand off and chops him in the head. And
we have a mangled dick, and then that's the end of
the mangled dick. And the cop. There's a cop very late in the movie after they've already set up like a crime scene at the grave.
Oh yeah,
the cemetery. And they're
like, oh
shit, this cop's here. What do we do?
Yeah, she was like, please step back, and they were like.
And he just picks her up and throws her in a hole, and she's out of the movie.
And the bystander in the street,
so
too.
Funny.
Oh, yeah.
But all of those were the creature. At least it doesn't actually kill anybody. But she's still pretty down. Because, like I said, so immediately after he gets his hearing back, and he's like, let's fix my hand, Lisa's like, I know the guy. And so she, like, sneaks a note into, like a will you date me, yes or no, check the box kind of note.
Yeah.
And you think she's doing it, like, it makes, the movie implies that, like, she's worked up the confidence to ask out her crush. But really, she's put it in the locker of the guy that groped her lab partner. And she lures him to the bachelor cemetery.
Which is funny.
It is funny. Where the creature, like, runs up on them and, like sneaks up and just, like, comes out with an axe and just, they knock him to the ground and they chop off his hand and then toss him in the grave. This grave is just, like, full of bodies.
It's just so funny. They chop off his hand and she, like, grabs it and rips it up into the air. She's like, ha ha ha, your hand, it's mine.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. All the kills are good. They're very funny and pretty gruesome for, like, it was PG-13, right?
Yeah.
Still pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I'm trying to think of if there were any other, like, I mean, basically every second of this movie is filled with, like, a funny line delivery or, like, a funny facial expression. So it's hard to single out, like, too many, like, specific things, you know? There is, I did have it written down, there's a funny, Taffy the whole time is very concerned about her mom, and Lisa is just like, oh, I'm sure she's fine. And it's like,
oh, right,
Lisa.
She'll call any day now.
They guise it over that...
She's on some sort of trip.
Because she was going on a trip.
Yeah.
She just was supposed to have left that day that Lisa and Cole Sprouse.
There's a very funny scene where they're in Lisa's room and they're rummaging through her closet and the creature finds a fucking like Hitachi massager.
Yeah, like the OG Hitachi.
The big fucking magic wand, dude. And
she's like, that's for back massages.
She starts with that, but then later on they're like they're laying in bed just talking and he's like massaging her back. It's so funny because he's still gross and like dirty looking and he's just in the bed like woo, and he's getting
like slightly less gross.
He's massaging her back, and then she just kind of like looks at him. And she's like, you know, you can use it in other places.
People use it on other things that aren't just.
And it's so funny.
And he's like,
they obviously they telegraph this joke very hard because it's certainly not the first time it's been done, but it's still so funny because like you can use it on other places. And then cut to Taffy and the dad like talking in the living room, and you just hear like one loud like orgasmic scream just in the background
where the lights are flickering.
It's funny. It works.
It is funny because if I'm not misremembering, that's how they had to market it, because they were like, oh, we can't just market this thing as a vibrator to get girls juicing.
The guising your vibrator as a back massager is classic. It's
I do need to go back to
the Bible and back massagers.
Yes.
The original stories.
Although they're getting very ballsy in like the Brookstone magazines now. They're just selling.
I think we're culturally moving to the point where we're like, listen, we all know there's.
I was just like flipping through one of those Brookstone magazines when I was at my mom's the last time, because like
you can buy your vibrator at
and they
Kroger,
just had like rabbits in it, and I just like sent them to Matt, and I was like, look at this, just in a Brookstone magazine. He was like, wow, okay.
I need to caption now. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just have to go back to the Taffy's concerned about Janet, because there's a really funny line where she like, because she's like, I can't reach my mom, or like she's like, I haven't heard from mom, like I'm so scared, and Catherine Newton's Lisa goes like, oh, you know, like have you tried calling the like hotel? Like I'm sure she's fine. Like maybe she got, you know, delayed or something like that. And then like 10 minutes goes by, and then like she comes into her room and she's like, I called the hotel and all the surrounding hotels, and I called all the hospitals, and I called the like all the police stations, and the blah 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 blah. And she's like, wow, you made a lot of calls. Okay. And like, that one just made me.
She goes, whoa, you made a lot of phone calls.
I will say there is one like there's like an emotional scene, you know, where the creature and Lisa are just sitting in bed, and I wrote this line down specifically because I thought it was like such a good line, where like the creature, and again, the creature doesn't talk at all. He just kind of grunts, and Lisa's like, yeah, you know, I understand.
Yeah.
But she says, I don't know the whole like the where it starts, but she does say the phrase, "Time is the enemy. It takes you further from when you were happy." And I was like, fuck.
Yes. I wrote it down because it stood out to me too. She says, time is the wound. It takes you farther and farther from that happy place, those good smells.
Yeah.
I was like, yo. Because it was to contrast the, you know, time heals all wounds thing. And I was like, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Time does not heal all wounds.
No, it was a really, really good, profound line. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Gonna drop that one in here?
Yeah.
It's certainly a line I would expect from Diablo Cody. It was just like she dropped it in a completely unserious movie that I was like, oh shit, I gotta write that down.
Yeah.
Damn.
Again, Heather mentioned it earlier. The whole movie, now that like Lisa's finally later in the movie when she's finally coming into, I don't even want to say she comes into her own because it's like random, and she's basically like herself the whole movie anyway. Very little growth. But she does. But her outfits do get crazier and more awesome.
No, she becomes like way more confident. She starts like talking to people. She starts talking to her crush.
I think it's a matter. I think it's less a matter of like personal growth and more a matter of like externalizing the person that she already is. It's more so about like, okay, I know that I am this. I need to now bring that to the forefront and change who I am externally so that everyone understands and like connects with that person and not hiding.
Let me speak from literal example. Like that is how I went through most of my like high school career. Was like I like wore regular clothes to like blend in. But I was like a weird
dog. Well, maybe not Eric. He was living cool beach life. You know?
No,
I gotta do it every episode.
But that's not everybody. Because that's the thing. Not everybody. I mean,
all of us here.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. So there were people who were very comfortable. Like the other goth girl in the movie. Like, that girl was very comfortable in her skin, and like that was who she was. And, like, maybe that's why she didn't like Lisa as much, because, like, she was, like, Lisa's a poser because she, like, she tries to fit in in this sort of, like, aesthetic, but she's not. Like, but just coming from somebody who I really identify with Lisa, because that is how I felt in high school. Like, I was a big nerdy gothic girl, emo girl at heart, but, like, felt like I needed to blend in with society and not be weird.
That's fine. I'm glad. I don't hate the movie. I think it's poorly written.
But you keep
compared to all her other works.
But you just keep saying that there is no, like,
growth
for Lisa, and there is.
There isn't. I'm glad you identify with her, but it's okay to identify with the character. And she's a good character. Just not to lead a movie. There's no journey. She just is who she is, and she barely changes. There's no catalyst to why she changes.
Yes, it is. It's Cole.
He doesn't even speak. He just shows up. That's not a reason to become a different person just because a zombie showed up in your house.
I think what you're missing is that he comes in and he removes all of the things that kept her from externalizing, like, this, you know, sense of self.
Well, exactly. He does it. There's no... Yeah. A voiceless zombie shows up, solves all her problems, and then the movie's over. She didn't even... If she had built the zombie, then it would be her work, you know, help... Like, it would be her helping herself.
But, like, she was tending to him. She's been visiting him. She's been, like... Well, she didn't build him. She's been, like, tending to him, which is the same idea. Like, if she wasn't, like, tending to his grave and, like, putting, like, flowers there and, like, whatever, doing all of the stuff that she has clearly been doing for many years at this bachelor graveyard, who's to say when, like, Zap the lightning came down, he wouldn't just, like, go terrorize a town.
I think it's also... Like, it's shown allegorically through his visual representation, too, because he starts out as this covered up, disgusting, like, caked on mud person. And the more and more she, like, externalizes herself and tends to him, the more and more he becomes a fuller, more recognizable human. Granted, he's, like, you know, a zombie person, but, like, that's the kind of showing of her growth. That's like, oh, okay, let's fix this up, let's fix that up, let's start to put the outside together in the way that I want it to be.
And even though he's voiceless, he's still, like, kind of coaxes her to be, you know, to come out of her shell. Like, he's like, why don't you wear this fun, like, black lacy dress?
Yeah,
he's like, this is cool. And she's like, no, I can't wear that. And he's like, yeah, you can.
He's like, also, wear it with this hat.
Yeah, he's like, look at this
that hat was doing work, dude. She looked in the hat.
She did. That whole outfit was, I said, I want, like, most of her wardrobe. Yeah, that Halloween costume she wore at the end, where they were like, that was my Halloween costume. I was like, I'd still wear it every day.
The costume work in the movie is fantastic.
I think you're just missing parts of it.
I mean, I saw the whole movie.
No, I just mean, like, in your brain. I'll just put this out there in the open. It just reminds me of, like, where I was and how I felt internally.
She's trying to guilt me into liking it now. She's going to use our story.
I am! But it's not because I'm guilting you. It's because that's how I feel. Like, I was in a weird place in my life, and then I met you, and it's not because...
You killed her family.
Yeah, it's not because you, like, killed people for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Yet?
Yes!
It's always on the table.
Yet?
It's not like you killed people for me, but, like, you being who you were and, like, you having more confidence than I did let me have more confidence, and then, like, you telling me, like, no, you could totally, like, pull that off if you wanted
Reinforcing.
to, like... Yeah, reinforcement of things. Like, you know, people don't necessarily need,
an
like...
encouragement.
Yeah, they don't need, like, a full, like, boost, but just encouragement to, like, come out of one's shell in the public is enough. So it reminded me a lot of our relationship.
I'm very happy. I'm very glad. I'm glad that you...
And I'm not trying to guilt you.
I'm really glad you loved it. I'm glad Eric loved it. I liked it. I just think that my only problem is that I think it needed I said it before, I said it again, needed a couple more passes on the plot department. In the dialogue and department, it's fantastic. It's just got some pretty glaring holes that I think if she could just tighten it up and it'd be a way better movie. And then it would have made maybe more than $9 million.
Well, I just don't like that he keeps saying that Lisa had no growth, because she did.
She had some growth. How about that?
Fair.
We'll meet in the middle.
Fine. Fine.
She grew a couple inches, that movie.
I mean, her hair alone.
But yeah, so basically
probably platform goth boots
for
too.
sure.
So to head into the end of the movie, you know, eventually Lisa's been focusing on Michael, right, this whole time.
Yes.
She's been trying to, like, work up the courage to ask him out. She's, like, more confident now.
Like, really has, like, no part in this.
Yeah, he's really not that
He's
important.
He's really, like, a no character
He only has, like,
person.
2 scenes. But eventually... I did say before that there's, like, no stakes. And there really isn't. The little bit of stake that there is going on is that, like, the whole, like, after the murder of the stepmom... Lisa is like, the cops are going to come looking. Mm-hmm. Is basically like the cops.
They're on a timeline. Yeah,
yeah, they're on. That's the timeline for the end of the movie. Is that eventually the police will come looking, especially because now they've killed her classmate too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So she's like, all right, I'm running out of time. You know what? I have to get laid. That's her. Like, all of a sudden she goes, I gotta fuck, and so she's like, that's it.
She doesn't want to end up in the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
So she drives over to Michael's house. Meanwhile, the creature is like, I guess he gets left at home. Is there like some sort of like conflict between them?
She gets in the car with him because she's on the way home. She leaves school. She's like, all right, nobody's gonna drive me home today. Fine, I'll walk home. And then as she's walking home, the creature is already out and about driving in the car.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
Yeah, he was coming to find her. He was coming to find her.
Driving a car.
And there is a scene where he's just driving slowly down the road, and he stops, and there's just this little kid in a yard, like, playing with a sprinkler, and there's this guy, and the guy comes to accost the creature for no reason. And he's also...
because he's stealing his car.
No, isn't it Taffy's car that he drives? Or he does steal the guy's car?
He's stealing a car.
He's stealing the man's car.
The guy is just like, who are you?
The guy is like...
yeah, I don't think it's the man's car. It's just stealing a car in front of
the guy is like the most out-of-place redneck dude. He's got this crazy southern accent. I'm like, aren't we in like... Connecticut or something? Like, I don't know where we are in the movie, but we're not where this guy is from.
No.
And then so it's just really funny because he like accosts the creature, and the creature immediately kills him. Like we cut away and cut back, and creature's driving away, and the guy's just like a plank, just dead on in the middle of the street.
Well, maybe he was just knocked out.
And then so Lisa goes to fuck Michael, and she like gets to his house. She like goes into the house and then up to the stairs, and this is where we get the reveal that Taffy and Michael, who I guess Michael is also cheating on Tamara, the goth chick.
Yes, correct.
And Taffy is they're sleeping together.
Dun dun dun.
And so there's this big confrontation where Lisa's like super upset because she's like, you always said he was stupid and that you weren't interested in him, and she's like, why do you have to take this guy from me? So I was watching an interview with Catherine Newton, and she said this is her favorite scene because there's a line here where she's talking to Taffy, and she goes, you just give it away like a cheese cube at Cracker Barrel or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's a good line.
What I like is that she confronts this dude because like the whole time she's trying to like become more and more the person that she thinks he wants to be with.
Yeah.
Because she's like, we're into the same stuff. You like my writing. You like all the same weird stuff I do. But you don't want your girlfriend to like that stuff. You want to be the cool, artsy, aloof person. But you don't want your girl to be into that stuff. You want to be the cool guy. Fuck you.
Yeah. She gets like so mad at him. She just unravels.
It's so funny because like I definitely know those guys who are like, no. Like, you don't understand.
They have to be
this has to be my cool.
Yeah, like I need to be like, let me tell you about this, sweetheart.
Yeah, exactly. You have to mansplain all
that's
of
how we
their
get.
interests.
That's how we get really like miserable middle-aged guys, because like I can't think of an existence like more horrible than to like be married to somebody who has zero interests.
Yes,
in anything that you're into, or just zero interests at all. That sounds horrible.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say something about this scene too.
Well, this is also where we get the we should get like the mangled penis soundbite from Joe Bob, you know, where because they're naked in bed. Well, like Taffy's mostly clothed. It's PG-13. The guy's naked though, and the creature like after Lisa's like fantastic rant, creature like runs in and is like, and he's like in rage mode, and he's got the axe, and you get this funny slow motion. It does Can't Fight This Feeling play here. Is this when it plays?
Yeah.
Because there's a scene when they're playing piano, a really good scene earlier where the creature plays piano after he gets his hand fixed.
And she's singing
then Catherine Newton does a fun little cover of Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore. I don't know what the actual title of that song is. But there's like a reprise, like a instrumental reprise of it. And I think it's during this scene where the creature lunges in and chops the guy's dick off. And if it would have been, I do miss an R rating because it would have been great to get a slow-mo dick, with blood streaming out of it.
We get the silhouette of the shadow against the wall as it's like end over end flying up, and everyone's eyes are kind of like watching it in horror as it floats through the air, and everyone's like,
and then
there can't be anything more traumatizing.
No. Well, that guy dies immediately afterward. Turns out if you get your dick cut off, you die pretty quick.
I mean, you bleed
there's
out.
a lot of blood that rushes there.
A lot of it.
Gravity does a lot of work.
So.
And
to also the fact that there was even more blood rushing there because he was in the middle of doing
What's even
stuff.
funnier is that
I think getting reamed out by Lisa might have lessened his chub a little bit.
I don't know, man. That hog was zooming through the air.
It really was.
It fucking thuds into that garbage can, and the creature just picks it up, very matter of fact, and walks out of the room with the whole garbage can.
Yeah, shit, that was so funny. I was like, what the fuck he doing?
The next time we see the dick, it's wrapped in paper towels and blood. It's like seeping with blood, and he like holds it up to Lisa back at home, who then she,
This is when we find out he doesn't have one.
Right.
That is why he
might have found that out earlier.
The wiener.
But yeah, so she sews the wiener on.
That's so funny.
And I forget, is this like, when was her like realization that I love the creature? When was that?
It was pretty much he chops off the wiener. They have to leave, so she takes her sister and pretty much puts her in the car and is like, hey, you need to chill the fuck out. We need to go.
All right. They have to leave because they know, because the police are officially coming. Because there's another funny line when right before the dick chopping, she gets in the car with the creature when he like pulls up, and she sits down and she goes, shit is transpiring. I need to get to Michael's. And I just love the just shit is transpiring. It's such a funny, and the way she delivers it is fantastic. But what a funny, like, I kind of want to incorporate shit's transpiring into my vernacular.
Be a good soundbite on our Discord.
Yeah, shit is transpiring.
Shit is transpiring. I'll try to find it.
But yeah, they show up at the bachelor cemetery.
She brings Taffy with her, and Taffy is like
fully traumatized, comatose.
Like she keeps, Taffy is like shaking, like in the passenger seat, covered in blood, and Lisa keeps trying to be like, "It's okay," and she goes to touch her, and she's like a trauma victim. She's like twitches, like, "Oh my god, I can't."
I mean,
wouldn't
you?
Well, I know, but we're also in a comedy movie. But it's funny how like seriously her trauma is portrayed. It's so serious that it goes back around to funny.
Yeah.
Lisa does try to kill the creature, but then realizes she can't because she loves him.
Yeah, pretty much she has a heart-to-heart with her sister and is like, hey, like, I understand that you were trying to reach out and be, like, a lighthouse for me, and I appreciate that. I needed that. I didn't reach out back.
A little too late, because now she's fucked up.
Yeah, she's like, she understands that she's like, oh, I kind of missed my moment with you, but, like, I do appreciate that you were the only person trying to, like, reach out to me.
Right, and then so they're in the cemetery, and that's when they kill the cop. She shows up and she goes, hey, this is a crime scene, like, you can't be here. And then Frank, like you said, just picks her up, throws her in the grave, and she's just dead.
She's just dead instantly.
It's so
Maybe
it's so
he threw
funny.
with a lot of force.
That's what I like about it. Like, I know you said you're not happy that there's no, like, real stakes, but I love that the one time that they run into a cop, he's like, well, I'll just throw her in a hole. Woo! Gone out of the movie.
Yeah, and then so they do...
No worries.
So this is, towards the end now, they I think Lisa, she realizes that there's no escape. Like, they found the murder scene where they've stored all these bodies, like, all movie. So she goes home. There's a really cute, like, they now that they've decided, like, she realizes that she loves the creature, and the creature loves her, so he gives... He, proposes to her with a peach ring. He, slides a little peach ring, because she's been eating them the whole movie.
Yeah, it's like her favorite. It's her
which I thought was very cute, the peach ring proposal. And then...
I still prefer a ring pop proposal, though.
So it all culminates into... And this is, I guess, the twist of the ending, is she kills herself, right? She goes into the tanning bed and tells him to crank it up to, like, there's a funny setting.
Well, yeah, but she specifically, like, mentions back to what you talked about earlier, where she's like, oh, I when I said I wanted to be with you, I meant I wanted to be dead in the ground, not you to be here.
Yes.
So this is kind of coming back to her original wish where she's like, oh, wait, we gotta...
Yeah, but now she can be dead in the ground and be with him because she actually does love him. And so it is cute. She goes into the tanning bed, cranks it up to maximum. And then
was it maximum bronze?
Yeah, max bronze or something like that.
It's something crazy.
And then
she has him do it, so he like it's funny because
he's like crying too.
Well, she sits in the bed. He gets like a folding chair.
Yeah.
And like he sits in the folding chair, and she's like, "Okay, now it's the time." And he closes it and cranks it up, and he just like sits in the folding chair, and he's just like crying and just like
He puts the little, eye protectors on and sits and stares at the machine.
Yeah, and he's just manning the machine while she dies.
Another funny little detail about the creature that we miss is that anytime he cries like toxic green sludge that stinks up the whole house.
She's like, "Stop crying, it smells."
Which is just funny.
Yeah.
Very, very good comedic acting on the...
Because it would, right?
Yeah. It would be heinous. Honestly, the entire movie would stink. It would be fucking unbearable.
Yeah.
So Lisa burns alive in the tanning bed in the garage.
The whole garage is
goes
ablaze.
up. And then cut to a year later or something. I don't know if they even give us a time, but you cut to Lisa's grave. Mm-hmm. And then the dad and Taffy are standing over it. And it's so funny because he's he just goes, "Well, we came. Want to go to Fuddruckers?"
Yeah. He's like, "We got to go see your mom's grave."
and then
Fuddruckers? And she's like, "Yay!
Yeah,
chicken strips."
And then, but that's a fake out ending because then we cut to a park bench where Cole Sprouse, where the creature, he's fully...
He's a human.
Undead now?
Yeah.
He's not, he's still a zombie
guy,
but
he looks human.
Yeah. He looks good. Those mutton chops work for Cole Sprouse.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think he looks worse. I saw a bunch of interviews and he's clean shaven, and I'm like, don't put the mutton chops back on.
Don't,
because he looks good in this movie, even when he's covered in muck and grime. I'm like, yeah, Cole Sprouse is doing work for me in this movie.
He'd be killing it.
I was like, I think I might be more into Cole than Catherine Newton. Maybe it's also the Victorian getup.
Yeah, it's because he looks like the guy from Corpse Bride.
Yeah. Well, we all love him.
Yeah.
I can't believe we made it this far without mentioning that. It's kind of like a reverse Corpse Bride.
Yeah, a little
bit.
It
is a little bit.
Corpse
hubby.
But yeah, so we cut to the, we fade into this park bench here, and we kind of the camera pans over the shoulder, because you can't see, he's just sitting there reading a book of poetry.
And he's actually speaking
This
full
is his
words.
only line in the movie is when he's reading this poem. And then as the camera finally crests over his shoulder, you see Lisa. She's she looks like the mummy or the Invisible Man. She's so covered up because of all the burns, but she's just sitting there cuddled up with him, and they're reading in the park bench, and that's the end. It's very cute.
But isn't she undead now?
Yeah. She too is a zombie now, I guess.
She's just a burned person.
She's ghoulish looking, she's a little gray.
Yeah.
I think
what you can see of her.
You can't really see much. You can just kind of see a little bit of her face peeking through. I think her eyeballs are burned out. I don't think
she has big
eyes.
Sunglasses on.
You can see over the sunglasses though from the angle. And I was like, I don't think she has eyeballs. Which is a crazy detail to add.
Whoa.
So that's the end. I mean, I think it's cute for what it is. It's extremely funny, and I think that really
I was laughing start to finish.
Yeah,
I thought it was hilarious.
Ultimately, the comedy. Whatever I've said, the arguments we've had this episode. I don't think the plot stuff is important enough. Or a big deal enough. The movie's funny, and that's really it's not like we're going to see an Oscar bait movie anyway. So I just need to point it out. I just need to point out my gripes with it as somebody who's I'm a student of writing. I'd like to think that I can analyze a plot a little bit, but ultimately the acting and the writing of the dialogue is so well executed that any other flaws I don't think are that big a deal. I just don't think it's going to be a huge cult hit, but I think it's pretty funny. There's some lines that I think I will quote for a while.
Shit is transpiring is definitely is going to end up on the Discord soundboard.
Once we get access to the movie, I will be sure to be ripping that soundbite.
I'll see if I can find it on YouTube right now.
Yeah, if I can get it, and put it into this episode, I'll do it.
There you go.
But yeah, so ultimately, I think it's a really fun movie. I'd say go catch it in theaters if you can. We might be
It is a little late.
It might be a little late,
Yeah.
but I think it's gonna be one of those ones that'll be available on Amazon super soon.
If you didn't get to catch it over Valentine's Day or end of the month now because you're so busy preparing yourself for Dune 2, just catch it at home. It'll be a worthwhile one for. Honestly, most ages. I think it's rated PG-13, but this is humor that extends far beyond little dick jokes and stuff like that. It's very funny.
It's very smartly written, and yeah, I think pretty much anybody can watch it. I wouldn't. There's a dick chopping scene, but again, you only see it in silhouette.
But if you're into weird science, if you're into Edward Scissorhands, if you're into all of those
it's not any worse than any of those
creepier kind of romance movies. Go for it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, you can even compare it a little bit in tone to Catherine Newton's other horror comedy, Freaky.
Yeah,
I think Freaky's even more gruesome than this. So if you've seen
Freaky's way more brutal. That's rated R.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah, I guess it would be. There's a guy gets cut in half long, hot dog style. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie.
So, if you've seen that, it's not nearly as bad as that one. No, gore wise, that movie's fantastic. Yeah, I say go, trust these two because I think they're probably right. So after all that, I'm probably wrong anyway. So.
He relents. It's okay. You know what?
I'm just trying to curb the crucifixions.
I was about to say I gave him the Skinamarink episode. I let him shit on my Skinamarink, but I got backup for this one.
Listen, I just didn't like that he kept saying Lisa didn't have development. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
I welcome debate. If anyone wants to tell me how wrong I am, I'd love to hear it.
And Matt, where do they tell you?
You can go join the Discord again. The link to it is in the bottom of the description of this episode.
I'm happy to fight with you there.
And you can also catch us on all of our links are in the bottom of this. You can catch us on Twitter, on Instagram. Would be a weird place to message us.
That's fine. We'll fight with you there too.
We'll fight with you anywhere.
Twitch. Mondays and Fridays.
Yeah, if you want to do it in real time, if you want to debate with me in real time, you can go to Matt X Young on Twitch. We stream Mondays and Fridays, and you can just fucking fill up my chat with how wrong I am. any dialogue really at this point would be great.
Really, that's what the chat and our chat is usually about. Is Matt's goofing up. Matt's goofed it up in this game.
Yeah, we've been playing a lot of games where I just die a lot over and over again, and it's mostly just watching me do that. So there's a lot of talking over it. We're to the point where now the stream is just us chatting. I might as well not be playing the game, but it's mostly just filler video. But yeah, you can catch us there. And again, all of our other links are down at the bottom of the description. So please hit us up.
If you stuck with us long enough, quick peek into March. We are definitely going to be checking out Late Night with the Devil. That's late March.
Fuck, I can't wait for that.
Along with Blood and Honey 2, which might be an early April cover, but we're definitely going to catch that one. And we're going to try and maybe sneak in a Leprechaun appearance over St. Patrick's Day next month.
Oh, it's March, right? Is that when St. Patrick's Day? Yeah, I'll work on a Leprechaun episode for sure.
Because just like this month, we're going to be trying to stick with that one new release, one kind of look back into some older stuff that's maybe a little bit more accessible for horror fans, stuff you've seen before, stuff classic stuff. And another maybe curveball episode in there.
Yeah. But until then, that's all from us here at the Devil's Cut. Thank you for joining, Heather. Thank you for joining us on this very special finale of our 2024 Valentine's series.
Woohoo!
I honestly don't know if we can do another series like this unless way more Valentine movies come out.
We got plenty of romantic horror
Joe Bob
options.
has given you many options.
Weird
ones.
That's true. Although I don't know if some of those are really that romantic.
I don't think we're going to be covering Necromantic on here.
I think you should.
No,
But there's a sequel we might check out.
Oh, good. What a world where our podcast covers Necromantic 2, but not any mention of the first one. But
We'll
yeah,
have to wait till next year.
Once again, that's all from us here at the Devil's Cut. Creepy real, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.